Two, three. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Meettina. How's everyone's doing? Glad to have you here. If this is your first time, please do not forget to subscribe, click like, and if you have already followed my channel, please kindly click like and also share this video or any of my videos if you have that feel resonate to it. Now, just a quick update. I have been uploading different type of meditations on my channel as well as guided hypnosis. Well, I'm gonna have to speed up a little bit on the guided hypnosis because I haven't uploaded as many. However, that's going to be offered on my channel since I am a hypnotherapist. Also, I am a QHHT practitioner that I studied directly personally with Dolores Canyon in 2010 in Los Angeles when she came here. So anyway, another thing that I'm going to have very new is live streams. That's going to be free, either tarot reading, clairvoyant readings from the hundreds of practitioners going to be coming on to my show, and there'll be a group of the practitioner coming on to do free readings. So stay tuned and, pay attention to all the notifications that's going to be going out on my channel. So that's going to be fun. And not only that, I believe Daniel, the Starseed practitioner or reader, she's going to be doing a live stream as well. She's going to be reading what your star seed is, where you're from. All right, so just a quick update. You guys might be interested in that, but now it's all going to be about Raymond, Dr. Raymond, a cosmic ray. Last video we talk about time traveling. We talk about the multi-universe, Lady Lambada. So we didn't get to finish that. So today it's a continuation of that video. So let's do it, Raymond, Cosmic Ray. How are you doing?
Great, Tina. I'm doing fine. Just came back from the Mutual UFO Networks conference in Belleville, Ohio, on Saturday, the 27th of August. Met many interesting people, including a friend of George Adamski, who gave me some original material from the first contactee of the modern era.
Wow, fascinating. So Dr. Ray, he's attend UFO conference like at least once a month. So I'm like, I'll be darned, no wonder so much information you have. That's going to be a next book. Remember, guys, he has 7 books written already, 8 books coming up, probably, soon, any day. Description will list all the links to Amazon.com to grab his books if interest. So let's go with the books that we're talking today is Lady Lambada. I think that's number 5, right?
Yes, that's number 5. It's the Lady Columba Venus Revelations.
I always call Lambada. I don't know why.
I think Lambada is a dance.
It's a dance. Yeah. Well, I used to take dance classes. That's why I'm into dancing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I take dance classes. So why my head just kept saying Lambada. So this is so funny. Although I never take that dance, so that's funny. All right.
Well, just as a recapitulation of what the book is about, it was Annabelle Krebs from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, born in 1902. She traveled around the world seeking esoteric knowledge and wisdom, and Tibet, throughout Europe, Indonesia, all over the world. And she ended up in Joshua Tree, California, where she attended the first interplanetary spacecraft conventions of George Van Tassel. And it was there that she became closely associated with Truman Bethurum, the contactee who first came in contact with Commander Aura Raines and flew 11 times on her spacecraft, and wrote a book about his encounters. I wrote A Flying Saucer. But Annabelle became the secretary for Truman Bethurum, and little did anyone realize that she was having her own encounters with the Venusians and other extraterrestrials. She kept many notes and wrote about her experiences and so forth. And I was privileged to get hold of all of this information and to put it together in the book, Lady Columba, Venus Revelations, so people could see for themselves through her drawings and her representations of life in outer space, and as well as through her writings, which are very informative about the extraterrestrial presence on Earth. So this is from the book. This is a meeting of Interplanetary Council, and illustrates the many different forms of life besides just humanoid life and various hybrids and so forth that form the body of the intergalactic confederation. And it's a beautiful drawing, and it represents just a portion of the 601 member of the Confederation in 51 solar systems.
Right. So you guys, just a quick thing. On last video, Dr. Ray has featured a lot of images from this book. So if you want to take a look at some many images that he's shown, go back to this video part 1. All right. So I'm going to link to that too. Thank you.
Well, the book is important because it highlights the role that women played in the contactee era in the 1950s and into the beginning of the 1960s. And Annabelle herself, given the title and the name Lady Columba by the extraterrestrials, she is illustrative of the fact that women, just as much as men, were receiving contact from extraterrestrials, from planets in our solar system and beyond.
So, to Raymond, quick question. It came in my, has she passed?
Yes. What happened was that in 1997, before she died, she was visited by extraterrestrials, and they took some of her DNA, and they were able to reconstitute a new body. And this is from the book. This is a drawing that she made that illustrates the process. And they downloaded her consciousness.
Okay.
And then once she had a new body constructed from her DNA, from her own DNA,
Right.
with, stem cells and so forth, and they put her consciousness back into the new body. And this is on the moon base Clarion on the far side of the moon, where she's resurrected into this new body.
So you mean that she has new body, so she's existing in a human form right now?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So are you still in touch with her at the current physical being?
Oh yes, I have met her on several occasions.
So when you met her in a new body, how old is she now?
She looks like in her early 20s, or late teens.
Okay.
I'm going to I have an actual picture of her when she was a teenager. She was living with her mother and her sister, her younger sister. They were all running a boarding house in New York City in 1918 through 1921, which was incidentally the time of the great Spanish flu, the pandemic.
Okay.
That probably was more devastating than the COVID. that we just went through. And
Right.
I'm going to show you and the viewers a picture of her.
So what is she currently doing now, Ray?
Well, right now she is with the what Dr. Frank Stranges calls the angel force, but that's the contingent of extraterrestrials that are operating on Earth.
Mhm.
And okay.
Is she like fully involved in the UFO?
Oh yes. She and other Venusians and other extraterrestrials often appear at various UFO conventions and so forth.
Okay. Now, has she, as a teenage or a young lady right now in this existence, you know, did she continue to work with you with her book or with, with all the information that you've been receiving? Was there
Oh,
connection,
oh,
a continuation? That's what I meant. Yeah.
oh, yes. And I continue to receive all kinds of information from her and others from time to time. In fact,
That must be fascinating for you, right? To have someone who passed away and then come back as a young body and still have that a continuation of communication as it never, stop. That's what it is.
oh yeah, oh yes. And there are select individuals that that undergo that process so they can continue the important work that they started on Earth. Maybe perhaps you and I could go through that one of these days.
how do we know? This is the audience gonna be like wondering about themselves too. It's like, how do we know if we are being, why are you being selected, and how do one knows that if that's gonna happen to them or not? Because apparently she came in with this special gift that she's already know all this connection. She's already communicate with the certain ETs, different ETs and all that in that past lifetime that you knew her before she passed, and now she came back and still remember everything as if nothing ever happened to her, just in a new body.
Yes, that's right. I'll show you another picture of her with her sister and her mother.
Okay.
And I was able to find these on old genealogies.
What year was this?
This was sometime between 1918 and 1921.
So this is on her prior lifetime when you met her the first time.
Yes, this is before she passed away in
Right.
1997.
And the picture that you showed me earlier, that's the current one, correct?
That one is that was an enlargement of from this photo of her.
Okay, that's what I thought. It looks so similar. Mhm.
It's her on, that's her on the left.
Yes, yes.
That's
Do you
it.
have picture? Do you have picture of her, the current one that she's
Yes.
in?
Yes, I do have some there, and
I wonder if they look similar.
oh yes, they look very similar indeed.
Now, was she reincarnated with a different family, different parents from before?
Oh, no. She came back reconstituted as a teenager.
She came back as a teenager, you said.
Yes.
So is that a walk-in? Would that consider as a walk-in?
Yeah, I guess a type of walk-in, because they used her own DNA to reconstruct a younger body for her, and so with her consciousness being downloaded into that body,
Okay.
I guess
So
a type of walk-in.
so if it's a walk-in, what happened to the consciousness of the the soul prior to before she took over her body?
Oh, okay. Well, it was placed in a kind of a kind of suspension in a type of machine.
Mhm.
It could be accessed by other extraterrestrials that could bring it out and put it back into her body.
So the consciousness of that individual before she took over was actually encapsulated in
Yes,
something.
yes, a type of crystalline structure that was able to suspend and maintain her consciousness.
So would her parents notice any difference in perhaps even personality change or any just there should be a change if there's a different consciousness, right? How's family not notice that? That's what I'm worrying about that too.
Oh, well, this is a rare occasion that they would do this type of thing, and she had outlived her parents and her sister.
Mhm.
So far as I know.
Oh, I'm talking about the current parents, the current parent who she has been walking into that body.
Oh, okay. Well, um, she was just she didn't have any parents coming back, because they built the new body for her essentially.
Hmm. Oh, okay. So she came back as a teenager without the parents. Is that what you're saying?
Right. They formulated a body for her that was the equivalent of her when she was a teenager.
Okay. So, okay. So who does she live with right now, Raymond? Like, what is it that she's doing? Who does she live with right now? This is interesting, to hear about I mean, I have heard walk-ins before in the past, but now it's like the question is like, how's that work with, the walk-in? So this is a new body that doesn't belong to another person, you said.
Right. It's essentially her own body because it's constructed from her original DNA.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So let's go on with the next thing that you would like to share then.
Oh, okay. Well, she traveled through space for 4 years, from 1957 through 1961,
Mhm.
with a group of extraterrestrials. And in the book, um, we learn about life on the other planets. She goes into great detail about what life is like there. She talks about the UFO phenomena on Earth and what it means. And um, she talks about the secret space programs of both the prior Soviet Union and also the United States, going back in the 1950s. And she spent most of her time on the moon, on the backside of the moon-based Clarion, which is that's
So,
that's
uh,
one of her drawings from the book.
right now, what is it? Because you mentioned about the back of the moon quite a bit. Why is it that, I mean, what is it like at the back of the moon? Is it another civilizations or why do they go there? And that's where the clarion call come from as well, correct?
Yes, that's right. Um, well, they want to keep an eye on the Earth, and they need a strong presence that's close to the Earth, but it's not easily detectable. Even when our own astronauts go to the moon, what they have to do is if they're um, on the back side of the moon, they need to relay a signal off of a satellite
Mhm.
in order for it to, that's somewhat apart from the moon, um, that they could bounce the signal off the satellite and send it back to Earth.
Mm. Gotcha.
So, but by having a base on the far side of the moon, and then I had showed on a previous episode some of the dome structures on the far side of the moon, and the the very extensive complex that makes up that makes up the clarion.
Mm. Gotcha. Gotcha.
This is a book by Daniel Ross.
Mhm.
He was the founder of the International Get Acquainted program, started by George Adamski here in the United States.
Okay.
And he also traveled to other IGAP, International Get Acquainted program, branches throughout the world to learn, how they work and how they function, from Japan and from Denmark and
Mhm.
Australia and so forth. And he wrote this book, which is titled UFOs and the Complete Evidence from Space, the Truth About Venus, Mars, and the Moon.
Mm.
And so he has one chapter about the moon, how the moon is actually reflective of a living environment.
Right. Mhm.
But I have to add to that because he points out some good scientific facts in there. George Adamski, everybody said he was crazy when he said that that the moon was inhabited, that it could sustain life, that there were lakes on the moon,
Mhm.
that there was an atmosphere on the moon, and so forth. And this is exactly what Annabelle Krebs also said in her about her experiences there, that it was inhabited and that it could sustain all these things. Well, now we're getting ready to send the Artemis space probe to the moon, right?
Again, huh? Uh-huh.
Uh, Unmanned at first.
Oh, okay.
I think they're going to launch it again, try again in 2 weeks. But
Wow.
where
Mhm.
they're sending it to the moon is the south pole of the moon. And the reason they're sending it there is because it's peppered with all these lakes. They've had sent pictures of the landing site, and it's frozen lakes that are all covering the south pole of the moon. And this is exactly what George Adamski said. And another thing, that when meteorites are seen approaching the moon, if it didn't have an atmosphere, then why is it that they're so incandescent? They leave these long trails, and there's friction there caused by something, i.e., an atmosphere, that's caused to burn up and leave these trails behind them. So Adamski and Lady Columba both said that there is an atmosphere on the moon, albeit much less than the Earth, but especially in the valleys on the moon, in the craters, that the atmosphere is retained because the moon does have gravity. It's 1/6 that of the Earth, but it can still be enough to retain an atmosphere.
Right. Mhm. So you said there's life on the moon. What kind of life, you know, inhabitant species there? Are they humans like us living there? Because I don't know if that the atmosphere in the moon would be sustainable for us.
Oh, yes, there's all kinds of life there. And of course, most of the facilities are built underground, and they use the lunar regolith, the dirt on the moon, to produce more oxygen for the habitats. And they have the water on the moon
Mhm.
under the lunar crust, and formed in some craters and so forth, and as frozen lakes. So they have to access that. And so this is how they do it. This is there's also many gravitational anomalies on the moon. And when the astronauts are in orbit around the moon, there's certain areas of mass concentrations of substances underneath the surface of the moon.
Mhm.
These mass concentrations that they can't explain that cause these gravitational anomalies. See,
Mhm.
there's like radar maps of mass concentrations on the moon, and this is an area close up on the moon with these mass concentrations.
Yeah, what's that supposed to represent, that mass concentration?
Well, these are habitats. These are cities that are underground, that are built in these craters,
Right.
and that the moon is hollow. That the moon is hollow in parts is evidenced by when the radar signals are sent to the moon, they actually make a pinging noise like a bell.
Mm.
And so they believe that the moon is hollow in many places, and some even speculate that it may have been artificially constructed or artificially moved in position around the Earth millions of years ago by an advanced ET civilization.
Mm-mm. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, this is what it's what it's about. And we also learned from Lady Columba that there are also extraterrestrial bases, cities that are in the inner Earth, inside the Earth. She called this the inner world Agartha, and yeah, she explains all about the world inside our world.
Okay. Are they ethereal beings, or they're like with the 3D, you know, flesh that we have?
Oh yes, there's a combination. There's a combination of beings,
Mm.
many dimensional levels that are in the Galactic Confederation, and
I mean, underneath the earth. Mhm.
oh, underneath the Earth, yes,
Right.
yes, there are, and in book number 7, I go into great detail about that from the files of Borderland Sciences Research Association, me
Mhm.
and Mark Probert, and all these psychic investigators from the early 1950s, late 40s and early 1950s, that were in contact with beings from Agartha, Venus, and other worlds from a higher dimensional perspectives.
Mhm. And what's the name of that number 7 book, Raymond?
Oh, that is called Flying Saucers from Venus. From Venus they come.
Mm. Awesome.
And yeah, that talks about the inner world as well. And there was gentleman by the name of Michael Xavier Barton, Michael X. Barton.
Mhm.
He was entitled to contact with beings from the inner world, from higher dimensions. This is Mark Probert from the Borderland Sciences Research Association, one of the ascended masters that he was in communication with, that was transmitting information to him. And then this is this section on the Borderland Sciences Research Association.
Mhm.
And this picture I'm going to show you, it says Agarthans as etheric beings that inhabit the inner world.
That one's kind of hard to see, but
Oh yes. But it's
it's okay.
the other gentleman here, that's Mead Lane,
Mhm.
the founder of Borderland Sciences Research.
Mm.
So these were channeled messages at first, but later on they actually met these beings who materialized on various occasions.
Wow, fascinating. So, Raymond, talk about like different dimensional being and universe. Has she ever told you, Lady Lamba told you, like how many multiverse out there and how many dimensions out there?
Oh yes, she explained that there were eight, that there were uh, eight parallel worlds, or eight
Okay,
parallel universes. And
8 universes. Okay.
yes, and the way it works is that space and time, matter and energy, um, are reflective of an octave, like an octave wave, just like on a radio. Um, if you have a radio that's sensitive enough, you can go up and down the dial, and you'll hear the same signal um, up the dial and down the dial, because this repeats in octaves, in
Mm-hmm.
sets of 8. And
Ah. Mhm.
yeah, this is exactly how the universe is. It's in octaves.
Okay.
And of course, we can we can uh, we live in one of those octaves, right? We live in one of them, and but we could be the other 7 in the past, present, or future, but we can't look at our own.
Hmm.
We're limited to looking at our own.
How come? Why is that? Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the explanation for that is.
Mm-hmm.
What the extraterrestrials do is that they can make projections for the future
Mm-hmm.
of the world based on the activities in other parallel worlds, that they can kind of see what direction we're headed in. And it's pretty hard to get the grasp of this, but there's something that's called the Mandela effect.
Mm.
And this is when people have glimpses of these other worlds, and there's slight differences. I think one of them was they said there's a children's book called The Berenstein Bears, and some people call it the Berenstein Bears, and some call it the Berenstein Bears.
Mm.
Just all these little things, and some people say that that Mandela died and they didn't know that he became the president of South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're getting perceptions, and they have this apperception, I should say, of another parallel world. So there's all these slight differences.
So this is like, okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying about 8 parallel worlds. Is that our different realities for each soul? Let's say there's a probability, and those are the 8 probabilities that we would have, correct?
Yeah, yes, that's right. So there's another you
Right, right.
that exists in all these other dimensions, all these other parallel worlds. There's another you there. There's another.
So is that how sometimes when, let's say, some people go to see psychic or intuitive or clairvoyant, they would tap into different parallel world of that individual and
Oh, yes.
see something, right?
Exactly. And when people have a premonition of what's coming for them, they're tapping into their through an oversoul that presides over all of this. We all have an oversoul,
Right, right.
and he's connected to not only our past, present, and future incarnations in
Mhm.
the sphere of existence, but also in these other realms as well. So
Mm.
when we go through our higher self, our oversoul, we can actually tap into these parallel existences.
So once, if we can tap into any of this parallel or probability, can we choose which one we want to manifest? Is that what it is, how it works?
Well, yes, we can. It would give us an idea of a direction in which we can move,
Mm-hmm.
and we may wish to manifest that in our own life.
Mm-hmm.
We see something that we want to avoid happening to us, and we could take appropriate action to avoid that kind of situation or some kind of dire fate.
So is that like when someone able to connect to their, is that what you call time traveling? I mean, going to the different reality, different probability.
Oh yes, yes. You could call it a type of time travel, but you have to remember that you're looking at a parallel world, not the world that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, we're not allowed to look into uh, our own continuum, our own space-time continuum.
Mm-hmm. So if we are not allowed to see our own universe, then how would one know what's going to happen looking into different parallel world?
Oh, that would be based on probabilities.
Yeah, that's kind of very complex to
Oh yes.
think
But
about.
for the most part, these parallel worlds are much like our own. There's only slight variations, slight differences.
Ah, I see.
Uh,
So
or on a superficial level, it's slight, but extended over time, these can be great.
it's like a vibration according to what's going on with individual at the moment, correct? Is how we vibrate at the moment energetically. And
Right.
when we vibrate, that's vibrating out or sending out into those 8 probabilities. Is that how it works? And that's
Yes,
why you say there's a slight variation.
exactly. Mhm. We make an imprint on time.
Ah,
We make
okay.
an imprint on time and space. And I found some examples while researching the Venus books
Yeah.
of a UFO landing that took place in outside of Paradise, California, in the valley there.
Hmm.
Way up from Chico, you go up this steep road about 7 miles up, and there's a big valley down there. And there was a UFO sighting by this prospector, and it was it was cycling every 30 days that he'd see the same thing. There was a UFO occupant that would get out with a bucket of water and go to the river and bring a bucket of water back to this saucer. And it was the same thing that was being seen over and over again, but every 30 days exactly.
Yeah.
And this is some kind of a glitch in the space-time continuum where he was looking at an event that happened sometime in the past. Who knows? And who knows how many times it was repeating. And many of the ghosts, when people have sightings of ghosts,
Yes.
and there's a special kind of aura in a certain house or a location.
Right.
They're seeing the same thing, the same kind of phantom, or the same incident being repeated over and over again.
Yes.
Periodically, and they think that the house is haunted.
Right. Makes sense.
This is created by an imprint on the space-time continuum that was made. There may have been some psychically traumatic event that took place there and created an imprint on the space-time continuum. And they're just seeing it. They're just seeing this impression being repeated over and over again, cycled through time.
That makes sense. But what about some people seeing, I mean, it's probably not the same images, but different images in the same location.
Oh yeah. There could be overlapping. There could be overlapping of dimensions as well. And then of course there is a truly spiritual a world, I guess you could call it, on the astral plane, where we have within us a consciousness, and we have a body, but we know that it goes on and on, because matter cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created or destroyed. And the same with energy. It cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transferred and it can be manipulated, but it can't be destroyed.
Right.
And so I definitely believe in ghosts. And Annabelle takes a journey with the extraterrestrials in exploring the spiritual realm as well, in the realm of the departed, that they could manifest their presence. And
so those who departed can manifest their presence to us.
Right, they can manifest their presence to us.
So when they leave this earth, where do most go to? Has she ever mentioned about that? When we leave this earth, what happened next?
Oh yes, well, there's essentially a well of souls in each solar system.
Yeah.
Where spirits go, and it's like in our solar system, it's on the planet Uranus, and it's beneath the surface. It's in like an ice cave, and it's full of crystals, and all the consciousness is in these crystals. They're just like, sparkling all over the place, and manifested in these individual crystals, billions and billions of souls. And they wait there until they manifest in another body somewhere, whether on this planet or another planet. And this is written about in this book as well as other Venus books.
So you're saying that our soul, once we departed from this earth, all goes to Uranus planet.
Right. And the thing about it is that people who have come back from there and had a recollection of it,
Yeah.
they say that it's no sense of time or space as we understand it. They could be there 1,000 years and it would be like a flash in the pan.
Right.
And or they could be there, they could be there they can be there for a very short time or a very long time. It doesn't make any difference, because when you're in that field of consciousness with those other sparks of divinity, it's totally just outside of our time continuum and our understanding. Like
Now,
you never left. It's like you never went anywhere.
right. Now, Ray, because I kept hearing people talk about once we die, we want to go home or going back to the source or reconnect with the source, right?
Yeah.
But now you mentioned that the soul will go to like become this crystal light and goes to the Uranus.
Yes.
How would that be going back to the source? Or is it because they're still being reincarnated again and again? I mean, when is the time for them to go back to the source? Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is
If she mentioned about that, if Annabelle did mention about that, or you asked that question to her.
Yes. Well, this is a place where the consciousness is retained. It's retained in these crystals. And then once you're ready to go to another incarnation, that's when you leave.
Right. But what about going back to become one? Is that the same thing? Going back to become one with the source, or going home? Is that the same thing as going back to Uranus?
Oh yes.
That's what I meant.
There will be a time when everything will return to source. But that's countless millennia from now. There's a time when there'll be a unification of consciousness into a universal field.
Yeah.
It's like a raindrop going back into the ocean.
Good analogy.
And so you have your individual consciousness, which is still retained when you go to a place like Uranus, versus an integration of where you still retain your individual consciousness, but you're part of a mass consciousness. You're part of the universal consciousness with the ocean, but you're still retain your the raindrop.
Got it. Wow.
That's an expansion of consciousness that will take place when the whole universe transitions into a entirely higher level. Consciousness.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. So what else that you would like to share in regards to Annabelle's share what she has shared with you on this book?
Oh, well, I think it's very important because she talks about the mission of Venusians coming to Earth.
Okay.
This is the ascension of souls from Venus that are going onto a mothership and coming to the earth. And also, I should add that similar thing was described by Amnek Anek as the ambassador from Venus.
Yeah.
In her book, she describes a similar journey coming from Venus as a teacher from a higher dimension, and coming to Tibet, where she was instructed with the high lamas and the masters, and then she came to Tennessee, and a little girl was dying, and she took her place,
Mm. Wow.
and then
Interesting.
began her ministry on Earth, and so that's her organization that I work very closely with in Germany, and it was Anya Schaefer is her personal secretary, and
Mhm.
the German translation of my book.
There
But
seem to be, you mentioned about Germany quite a bit, so there seem to be a lot of Venusian or like UFO groups over there. Am I right?
oh, definitely, definitely. In Austria, Switzerland, Germany, it was a great pleasure working
Hmm.
with all the different groups over there.
Nice, nice. Wow.
And I
Ah,
learned so much, and it promotes international brotherhood and sisterhood and cooperation between friends. This is what George Adamski envisioned when he had that international get acquainted uh, program. Before we go up, I'm going to share something, because a friend of George Adamski gave me some photos of Adamski that have never been seen before. And
really?
yeah, I'll show them on your program here today.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, you are in luck. Get to see this picture. I'm curious.
Okay. Yeah, this is from Mr. Andreas from
That's
Internet
a,
Acquainted program in Belgium in the early 1960s.
wow.
This is their stationery. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
See the Venusian there materializing in a room, and these people are
Is
star.
that a spacecraft?
Yes. This is a materialization of a Venusian inside of an individual's home.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
And so this is explaining about the International Get Acquainted program and the UFO Contact magazine in Denmark that I have all the back issues of as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh my gosh. Is that, you said that from Germany, huh?
Yes, this is from Denmark, the UFO Contact magazine.
They're in English, right? I would assume.
Well, Mr. Yes, and also in Danish. But this is Mr. Andreas went to Australia in 1959 when Adamski was on his world tour.
Yeah.
And this is a photo that he sent.
Oh, wow.
That's George Adamski on the left. And this is Martin Gottschall was a physicist, an immigrant from Hungary to Australia. And I
Wow.
think that's his daughter there. And that's a little plush puppy.
Oh, cute. I mean, couldn't tell at the moment what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really,
Is he still alive, the guy?
Adamski was born in Poland in 1891, and he
Oh,
died in the United States in in April of 1965.
Oh, wow. So you met him before he passed then?
Yes, I have what I have is some of the original tape recordings of
Mhm.
Adamski right before he died. And
Now, do you know what's going on with his souls at the moment? Like, where does he go after he left this earth?
well, it's believed that he underwent a similar process that Annabelle Krebs did, because um, people have reported seeing him on, on numerous occasions.
Mm, interesting.
And in the British Isles and some other places. Well, this is my friend with George Adamski in the summer of 1964 at his home.
Wow.
And that was
That was a long time ago.
in Vista, California, another one.
Yeah.
So this was a year before Adamski passed away. This is Alice K. Wells right here.
Hmm.
Was the one that ran the diner on the slopes of Mount Palomar, where Adamski worked, and he talked to all the people that would come up to see the telescope and everything. They'd stop by to see him and talk about flying saucers. And this is Ruth Davis,
Hmm.
another one who lived there at the Palomar Gardens Cafe.
So when you met Dansky, did he talk about which star system he's from or what he is, which one he has connection with?
Well, Adamski always said that his first incarnation in the material universe was on Venus,
On
and
Venus. Uh-huh.
so that's where he's at now. This
Mm,
this is Charlotte Blob right here with Adamski, and Charlotte Blob was the director of the UFO Information Center in Wisconsin, and
mhm.
they had a commune, a settlement down in Mexico.
Mhm.
Uh, she's the one that did the recordings of George Adamski that I have. And I'm going to play some of them in Hermosa Beach
Oh, beautiful.
on
Most,
the 12th and the 13th of next year, of February.
is that when you guys gonna have UFO conference in Hermosa Beach?
Yes, with Rob Potter and the Promise Revealed.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is also from Mr. Andreas in Denmark. And when he went to visit Adamski in California, Adamski gave him this picture.
Oh, okay. Is that poster or where's
It's
that
a
picture?
this is I think it's an artist's conception
Okay.
of the UFOs in space. So you see a typical Venusian scout craft.
So that's Venusian aircraft, I mean spacecraft.
Yes, with the condensing
Mhm.
capacitor balls, spheres underneath. And then this is one of the large carrier ships or motherships in the
Mhm.
distance, right here.
Right.
And it's just the moon in the background.
Interesting. So do each star system have a different uh what do you call that architecture of their spacecraft?
Oh, yes, yes. And um, in ufology can recognize, after a while, you get to recognize the different kinds of
Hmm.
ships, if they're from the Pleiades or from the Uma, or from uh, from some other star system or planet, and you can identify these ships.
So are you able to identify where they're from on each? I mean, like Pleiades, what did they look like? The Osirians, what did they look like? Arcturus, what the
Oh,
spaceship looks like?
oh, definitely, definitely.
Wow, would be interesting for you to kind of show that to the audience.
Oh, yes, we could do, yeah, we could do that in a future program. I guess.
Yeah, because people would be curious as what it looks like with the spaceship for
And
each
then,
star
and
system.
then, of course, we have our own secret space program, types of space vehicles. Many of the triangular shaped craft that are seen,
Yeah,
like the Phoenix Lights or something, are probably our own.
really? Oh, wow.
Top secret military aircraft.
So when some people saw the triangle shaped spacecraft, that's actually from us.
It's possible that it could be, eh, highly probable that it could be our own.
Mm-mm.
Do have space, we do have a fleet of spacecraft. In the Space Force, I believe they have 44 spaceships of one kind or another, maybe more.
I would love for you to share that, Raymond, like what, each spacecraft, where it's come from. I think that would be quite fascinating to identify that, where the origin of each shape, each space aircraft. Because I had no idea triangle one coming from us. So this is
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, that would be I'd be very happy to do that when
Yeah,
they do
let's
that.
do.
Okay.
I think people will be very much interested because that never been talked about. Like, oh, you see this, spacecraft and where they're from. I think that would be cool to be able to identify that for many of us
Okay,
who's interested in it.
sure.
Cool,
I'd be
cool,
delighted to do that.
good. And would you like to summarize, this book that we're talking about, today?
Oh, okay. Well, this is the Lady Columba Venus Revelations,
Mm-hmm.
available on Amazon and also on Audible books. On Amazon, you can get the audio book. It's narrated by Terry Springs from the CBS television affiliate in Las Vegas. And it's a wonderful encapsulation of the activities of the Venusians and other extraterrestrials, their activities in the solar system, on the moon, Mars, and Venus, that I think everybody will greatly enjoy, and
Great.
fully illustrated all throughout, and this is really a most unique of books because it also has her love affair with the Russian there too.
Amazing. Now, Raymond, I know you have so many books, for those who are like new to UFO and new to your work, which book would I recommend first? Would you recommend this one first or, you know?
You know what? I think this is a good introduction to all the mysteries that are out there. Yeah, I think I would.
Okay, good. Because definitely people will be like, okay, well, you got seven, which one would I pick? 'Cause that's a lot to read too, for people now, they even listen is a lot, and it would be nice for the audience to like, okay, which one to go first. So yeah, guys, this one would be, I mean, if this is your first time you're listening to this show and you haven't gotten his book yet, you want to like, dive into a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of visual images that Raymond put on his book too, which is fascinating. Some of them I'm like, wow. So get this book, Lady Columba, and I definitely will put the link where you can just go ahead and click and grab the book, audio, or just read however you like it. And I'm gonna get him back to talk about a different space aircraft, the origin of each, what they look like. I think that's fascinating. No one ever talked about it. I don't think anyone have talked about this.
Yeah, I don't think many people have talked about it. Although,
No, I don't think I heard of it before. I know I heard about the triangle shape that people's been seeing, but when you mentioned that it's from us, I'm like, oh wow. So
the last
imagine, yeah.
the last one to do that was Gladys Fusaro in the New York Flying Saucer Club. but that was
Uh-huh.
in the 1950s. But she made a giant chart that had all the different kinds of spacecraft and where they were from and so forth. But I don't think anybody's done that since she.
No, I never seen it. So unless I missed it, but I don't think there's been a lot of talk about it at all. So I think this will be a good one for people to identify where they're from if they see
Yes.
it. Yeah, and not mistaken that the one you see from there, our Earth belongs to them.
Well, I have Gladys Fissaro's chart in my book number 4, The Vast Venus Conspiracy.
Oh, okay, good, good. All right. And how many spaceship that you have in your collection that you would be able to share?
Um, I'd have to collect them from different different files, and
Okay, that would be a homework for you, Raymond.
yeah, that's be my some homework. I have a temperature controlled storage area in the backwoods here in West Virginia, and everything is all in alphabetical order and everything. So I will just get examples from various contactees and UFO encounters so that that the viewers can get a general idea of
Oh,
what's.
that would be fun. I think that would be exciting to go over that. Don't you guys agree with that? Post your comment if you really wanted to see the spaceship and their description and where they're from, the origin. I think this is going to be a really fun topic to talk about as well. Well, Raymond, thank you. Thank you so much for your share today with all this fascinating story. Guys, how do you like this book? Go ahead and pick it up. You know, if you missed the first part of this video, please go back and watch it. I'm going to link that video, number 1 of this. This is number 2 video of Lady Columba book. Go back to that video first and you come back to this video after. And Raymond, thank you so much for being here. You're going to come back again, you know, with more fascinating stuff, you know, that you can share with the UFO, you know, people here. So guys, don't forget to click like, subscribe, share this video. And again, I do have some live shows coming up, which is going to be very new for me. But there's going to be live show for different speakers as well, and also for psychic clairvoyant tarot reading that's going to come on for free. Each one of you probably get like 5-10 minutes reads. They're very, very good. So I brought them on, and even maybe a different practitioner for healings as well. So, you know, even scanning your health and all that stuff. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Raymond, thank you so much, you know,
Thank
for
you,
being here.
Tina.
We'll talk to you again. And guys, until the next video, thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Till next time.
Bye.